be a proud moment for you.
It is, very much so. It's a life aspiration achieved.
So this will be entertaining.
Yes. No racing.
No racing. Yes,
no racing, right?
Exactly. We're going very slowly.
My name's Tom Harmening. I'm the city manager for St. Louis Park, and I want to welcome you to our rec center and the TwinWest Chamber of Commerce, City of St. Louis Park's State of the City. This year, our theme, of course, is St. Louis Park on Ice. We can't get any more literal than that, and I think you're going to enjoy the program that we have for you today. Before I get started, though, I want to make sure that I introduce some of the people that are in attendance. We've got Councilmember Steve Halfin here. I would note that Councilmember Halfin indicated that if I had worn the BSM jersey, I probably would have been fired. So I'm glad I made the right choice today. There is a little bit of blood on here. I'm told that that's maybe from a split lip when St. Louis Park played BSM. So this is BSM red right here. So just Bob, I wanted you to know that. We've got Greg Lindberg here, Councilmember Greg Lindberg, Councilmember Ann Mavity. We've got our MEC Council rep who likes to be incognito, Jim Brummeyer is here. He's over to your right. What's that? Ann's here. I did mention Ann. We've got school board member Joe Tatalovich here. Joe? We've got Superintendent Rob Metz here. And we have the president of Benilde St. Margaret's here as well, Bob Tift. Also, I just want to take a moment and thank all of the individuals who were involved in making this happen today. It's a pretty unique state of the city. I think, Brad, you would agree with that. Not sure you've had one of these in an ice rink before. And did you note that the TwinWest Chamber logo on the ice down here? Like that? We can keep that on there for a small fee. We can do that. Always looking for revenue opportunities. But the staff I do want to point out and thank, and I'm going to miss somebody, so it's always a risk, is Nancy Dino, our Deputy City Manager and HR Director. Bridget Gothberg, who does just about everything in the city that I ask her to do. And then I've got my assistants, Debbie Fisher, Kay Madura, and Lori Vale worked on this as well. And I for sure want to make sure to recognize the two Jasons over here, Jason Eisold and Jason West. You're going to hear from them in just a little bit. So we're going to get the program started. First, I'm going to introduce Luke Litteken. Luke is the incoming chair of the TwinWest Chamber of Commerce. I used to serve on the TwinWest board, and when I heard that Luke was going to become chair, I was very encouraged. Luke was a great person to work with on the chamber board, and he will be a great chamber board chair. So Luke, it's all yours.
Good morning. Thank you, Tom, for the very nice introduction. My name is Luke Litteken. I'm a district director of gas operations for CenterPoint Energy, and as Tom mentioned, I'm incoming chair-elect for the TwinWest Chamber of Commerce, and I'm very excited about that. On behalf of TwinWest, thank you for the opportunity to partner with the City of St. Louis Park for this State of the City event today. It's great to see so many business leaders attending today. TwinWest is perhaps one of the most active chambers in the region and the state. Our members represent a variety of businesses and industries, from internationally renowned companies to home-based businesses. Most of you are familiar with the TwinWest and our activities, but please allow me just a few moments to share some of our highlights. TwinWest is an advocate for business. We are the voice of business and government and provide our members opportunities to grow their business and improve their communities. We are working hard at the Capitol this year to repeal the 3 business-to-business taxes that have been imposed on many of our members and other businesses around the state. We are asking legislators to consider Minnesota's competitive environment when they are debating the minimum wage issue, as well as continuing to support the advancement of the Southwest Light Rail project through bonding. And with the recent vote last night, we want to assure you that TwinWest is going to continue to stay active and promote our position and the city's position as we move forward. TwinWest operates with an entrepreneurial spirit. We are proactive and innovative, creative, and forward-thinking. A great example of that leadership is demonstrated in the Meadowbrook Collaborative right here in St. Louis Park. We know that children who spend time in a quality, structured preschool environment do better socially and academically than their peers who have not had similar experience. With funds provided through the TwinWest Foundation, a licensed teacher leads 3 to 5-year-olds in Meadowbrook neighborhood in activities that specifically help with kindergarten readiness. In our second year of this 3-year program, students are already demonstrating remarkable progress in their behavior, relationships, and language skills, as well as motor skills. The St. Louis Park Business Council continues to bring business, city, and school officials together each month to discuss issues of importance to the St. Louis Park community. Chaired by TwinWest member Dan Goldman of TwinWest Realty Investment Company, the council averages between 35 and 40 attendees each month and has enjoyed very positive feedback with the Spotlight on Business segment of the program, where a business or organization is given the time to talk about their company and services or products. And thanks to TwinWest member John McCain of Beltline Properties, Inc. for hosting many of the monthly Business Council meetings at the Wolf Lake Professional Center, and to Brad Bakken of Citizens Independent Bank for providing the coffee. If you would like to attend a future Business Council meeting, check out the TwinWest events calendar at twinwest.com or contact the Chamber directly. Members and non-members are welcome. TwinWest has a long history of working with our local governments. We recognize the importance of strong cities in creating a healthy business climate, and we appreciate the active involvement and support of our elected officials as well as city staff. We want to particularly thank the City of St. Louis Park for its leadership and support over the years for the proposed Southwest Light Rail that will run from Minneapolis through St. Louis Park to Eden Prairie. Southwest Light Rail transit will mean future economic growth and job creation in the corridor, along with improved transit options to connect businesses with workers. Thank you to Mayor Jeff Jacobs, the St. Louis Park City Council, and City Manager Tom Harmening for their leadership and great partnership with the TwinWest Chamber of Commerce. Now it's my pleasure to bring back Tom Harmening, former TwinWest board member and St. Louis Park City Manager, who will kick off our event. Thank you.
Thank you, Luke. I appreciate that very much. I think one thing unique about St. Louis Park that I've noticed as compared to other communities that I'm aware of or work in or live in is that one strength of this community is the partnerships and relationships that exist and continue to be built and sustained. And the partnership that the city has had with the business community, with the TwinWest Chamber of Commerce, has been very, very important. We've partnered with them on a host of things over the years, whether it be the visioning process that we've undertaken a couple of times, most recently the Health in the Park initiative. Obviously, the work that they've done at Meadowbrook is certainly in alignment with our partnership with Meadowbrook. So we really appreciate our great working relationship with the Chamber, Chamber President Brad Meyer, and we look forward to that as time goes on. If you've attended other State of the City events, Brad knows this, and Deb does with the Chamber, we do things a little bit different, a little bit more unique. I think we started this about 4 years ago, decided to shake things up a little bit rather than having you just listen to the mayor and myself. We decided to focus our State of the City events on essential services that we provide or core services we provide 4 years ago, we kicked it off with a State of the City event with the Chamber at the Icon Theater up at West End. That was followed by a State of the City event at the Municipal Service Center here in St. Louis Park, where we showed you how we go about plowing streets and all of the stuff that's important to you day to day. Last year we were at Fire Station number 1, and we really showcased our public safety services. And this year we're going to be showcasing our park and recreation activities. We're very proud of what we do here in St. Louis Park from a park and rec perspective. This building, as many of you know, because you've spent a lot of time in this building, is a real focal point of the community, and we're very proud of what we're able to accomplish here and how the community uses it. The person that I'm going to introduce first is Cindy Walsh. Cindy is the Director of Operations and Recreation. That is a very big job. Cindy is responsible for overseeing all of our operational activities that occur out there. So that is everything from snow plowing to utilities to park maintenance, you name it. Cindy is responsible for overseeing that. And she's also responsible ultimately for overseeing our parks and recreation programming. She has been with the city now for 15 years, has been just a tremendous asset to our organization, and I'm very, very proud and privileged to be able to work with her. So I'm going to introduce Cindy. Before I do that, however, I just want to mention, in terms of the state of the city, hopefully you got a flavor of that out in the lobby out here in terms of what's going on in the city. We also have this handout that illustrates what's going on in St. Louis Park, how we're doing, what's happening. So hopefully that gives you a good snapshot of that. So now, Cindy, why don't you take it away?
Thanks, Tom, and thank you all for being here. As Tom said, I'm Cindy Walsh. I'm the Director of Operations and Recreation. We are thrilled to have you here at the Rec Center today. Tom mentioned a few things that are inclusive in our department, and we are very proud of all of our staff. As you know, it's been a difficult winter, and you've seen the fruits of the labor of all of our staff out there on the streets and trails and parks and everywhere else. So when you see them, please say thank you. One of the big highlights for 2013 in our department was the feasibility study for the community center. And those of you who have been following this realize it really started back in 2005, 2006 with our city vision statement. From that, it appeared that what was missing in our community was a larger gathering place focused more on recreation types of activities, physical fitness types of activities. So to that end, in 2011, Council toured other facilities and then followed up in 2012 by having a task force who further studied the areas that the community told us they would like to see. In 2013, the city contracted with HGA Architects, and we did some preliminary design planning and site planning for a community center, and hopefully you'll be hearing more about that in years to come. I want to introduce a couple of our staff people who have a lot to do with this facility and programming. Jason West is our Recreation Superintendent. Jason Eisold, we call them Jason East and West here. So if you have trouble with last names, they now know they're East and West. And Mark Oestreich, who is at our Nature Center. So you'll hear a little bit from each of them about what activities they're involved in. Jason.
Thank you, Cindy. One item that we talk about in the recreation industry is economic impact. How do we help out the businesses of St. Louis Park? And one way we do that is through our programs. Through our recreation programs, which is adult leagues, sports, adult sports, playgrounds, warming houses, things like that. We actually have over 20,000 participants in all of our recreation programs combined, which they sleep, eat, and shop in St. Louis Park. We also have other improvements in the parks as well. We did a major upgrade in our outdoor lighting system at Louisiana Oaks Park. We also have edible gardens too, which we can talk about later if you'd like to hear about that. We also have successful community events called Parktacular and 4th of July. Very, very great events that you should all come out to. Next person I'll introduce is Jason Eisold.
Thank you, Jason. Jason. Thanks for coming. As Tom mentioned earlier, the Rec Center is kind of the epicenter of recreational opportunities in the city of St. Louis Park. Tens of thousands of guests utilize the facility on an annual basis for activities such as hockey, swimming, yoga, business meeting, birthday parties, and other numerous social and recreational activities. The Rec Center is home ice to 4 high school hockey teams, the St. Louis Park Boys and Girls and the Medill St. Margaret Boys and Girls hockey teams. Over 40 high school games are hosted here at the Rec Center on an annual basis, bringing thousands of spectators from around the metro and state to the community. The St. Louis Park Hockey Association also calls the Rec Center home. They're one of our biggest users of the facility, providing hockey to over 300 youth players within the city of St. Louis Park and surrounding communities. The St. Louis Park Skating School is also a stepping stone for many of these hockey players. The skate school provides lessons for first-time skaters all the way up to the competitive figure skater. The Rec Center has undergone numerous changes and improvements and renovations since its opening in 1971. Some of the more recent include the painting of the interior of the East Arena, the remodeling of the banquet room, upgrades to the women's pool shower and locker room area, and the introduction of new aquatic furniture to the aquatic park. The most recent initiative that the Rec Center has taken on is the organized collection of recycling and organics throughout the entire facility. You'll notice the receptacles located throughout the building. New waste collection containers have been placed throughout the area to reduce the amount of trash collected and to increase the amount of recycling and organics. Over time, this will reduce costs of waste collection at the Rec Center. Thanks for attending today's hearing. I'll pass it on over to Mark.
Good morning. My name is Mark Oestreich, and I'm the manager at Westwood Hills Nature Center, which is in the Operations and Recreation Department. Westwood is a 160-acre nature preserve located in northwest part of St. Louis Park, up where the intersection of 169 and 394 is. We're an educational facility that teaches natural history, environmental education, and recreational activities for all ages year-round. The city started acquiring land in 1959 when the Westwood Golf Course closed, and the Interpretive Center building was opened in 1981 for programming. In the Interpretive Center building, there's a collection of Minnesota native animals as well as a red-tailed hawk, and that's the site for our programming activities and a visitor center. And during the week, you'll find the staff working with preschool, elementary, and homeschool students as well as doing outreach programs. And on the weekends, it's family programs, adults, birthday parties, rentals, and serving as a visitor center for people using the trail system. Last year, nearly 31,000 people participated in formal programs at the Nature Center, and countless visitors use our trail systems every day. Volunteers are a big part of our operation and our success, and last year, over 3,600 hours were donated by adult and youth volunteers. And probably the biggest effect that we have is our Junior Naturalist program in the summer, as well as our annual Halloween event in October, which draws nearly 1,000 people and takes hundreds of volunteers to pull that off. So if you haven't come out to visit Westwood, I would encourage you to come out and visit all that Westwood has to offer and throughout all the seasons. So thank you very much. And now I'd like to introduce and reintroduce Tom Harmening, City Manager.
All right, thanks very much. A couple of things I wanted to point out before turning it over to the mayor. One is directed at Bob Tift. Bob, I noticed that banner over there at 1966 or 67. You were probably on that team, I think, weren't you? Back at that time, no, that. I thought that was your team. And then last, the other thing I wanted to mention is John Basil here from Discover St. Louis Park? If John had his way, the whole sheet of ice would have one big paint job that says Discover St. Louis Park on it, right, John? You'll notice that he's up over there in the corner. So I forgot to mention John before. John is the CEO of our Visitors Bureau here in St. Louis Park and does a great job. Well, last but not least, and I've learned a long time ago, you never follow the mayor when you speak. Never. And the reason for that is it's a letdown when you follow the mayor. I think I've learned that a long time ago. We were at a meeting on Sunday together, a community meeting, and I made sure that Bridget, who was kind of running that whole show, understood that Jeff went, that I needed to go after Jeff, or before Jeff, rather than after Jeff. So with no further ado, our mayor, Jeff Jacobs.
This one working? Nope. No. Is it working? Yeah, it is. Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you so much, all of you, for coming. And I really want to thank Tom and Cindy and Jason and the rest of the park for putting this on. As you can imagine, this is not the typical sort of state of the speech as Tom outlined. We like to do it at various locations so people really get a sense of what it is the city does. And I got to confess, every time I come to something like this at one of these locations, I learn something. For example, I did not know, as many years as I've been around, that a Zamboni had a horn. Didn't know that. And I'm trying to figure out now why you would need one, but it does, and I think it's a lot of fun, so it's good. And I really want to thank, a special thanks to Jason, who last week taught me to drive a Zamboni, because I am not a hockey guy. The last time I had on a pair of ice skates, Richard Nixon was president, all right? And I mean the first time, not the second time when he had to quit, that time, you know? So he taught me to use the Zamboni, and the one I was on had one of those little steering ball things on the steering wheel. And so I asked him, because we took a couple practice runs last week, and I got to confess, I was feeling my oats. I thought I was doing pretty good with this, and so I asked him if I could come out here as a part of this presentation and spin a couple of donuts with it, but he turned that down, which is probably a good idea. Well, obviously, a lot of what cities do, we make this comment a lot, that our core functions are, is drink, drive, and flush. Fair enough. And after a winter like this, those are pretty important. But there's more to it than that. There's more to a community than just those core services. There is this sort of nebulous notion that we refer to as quality of life. And I'm not sure there's really a definition of that. I think you know it when you see it, and you know it when you feel it. And the quality of life in St. Louis Park, I think, is extraordinarily good. And it's part and parcel of what we do, not only because of those core services, but it's the enhancement. It's the stuff that really makes a quality of life, a community of choice for a lifetime. So what is it? Well, it's life here I think is really good, but what are some of the essential features of quality of life? Well, it's about connections. It's about connections with your family, to each other, to institutions of government, to businesses, to neighborhood associations, to all sorts of things that make you feel a part of a community. Really a valued part of a community. It's about healthy and active living. St. Louis Park has been famous for many, many years for having a lot of parks. We'll talk about that in a second. But as Tom mentioned, the Health in the Park initiative that's been recently started is a part of all of that. So it's about being healthy and about being connected with health and a healthy lifestyle. It's about building assets in kids and doing good things for kids, and one of which is getting them out exercising. My grandmother, God rest her soul, used to, the first thing we would get told when we got to her house was to go outside and play. And I thought that was great. I always thought it was just a way to get rid of the kids, but she meant it. Go outside and be active and play. It's about community celebrations and celebrating what you have in a city like ours. And it's about a commitment to the arts and the environment. So frankly, for me, it's about building the kind of place that is, as I said before, a community of choice for a lifetime. So where do you find a place that does all that? Well, obviously, you're sitting in one right now. This is part of what we do to enhance that quality of life in St. Louis Park. Now, frankly, in my estimation, Park and Rec is about having a place to play. But it's more than that. It's a place to renew your body, your mind, and your spirit. It's a place to take a walk. It's a place to get involved in an athletic activity, whether it's baseball or football or lacrosse or soccer, or it's just, frankly, taking a walk with your family or sitting in a place like the Westwood Nature Center and communing with the environment. I've always thought the Westwood Nature Center, frankly, was one of the jewels of the Nile in St. Louis Park, and it's just one of the greatest assets that we have. We have some 57 parks, I think, in the city. Some are big, some are not so big. But you're never very far away from one. There's always a place you can go and kind of renew yourself. We have trails and places to walk and places to bike and places to exercise, and it's good for recreation. It's good for even getting back and forth to work. People commute back and forth on bicycles. I think that's fantastic. There are athletic facilities, fields, and whether you're a part of an organized athletic team or not, doesn't matter. Those fields are there for people to use, and it enhances everything we do. So why we're here today is to highlight those places, but mostly we're here to highlight and thank the people who do that, who make that available for us. And so I really want to thank all of our Park and Rec staff for the magnificent work you guys do. It's just fantastic. And so I just want to thank you for doing it. Some of you know, back many years ago, I managed the marina on Lake Minnetonka. And so I understand the value of people's need to be to connect with each other as a family, to be out involved with nature. I also understand, too, by the way, that time spent fishing is not subtracted from the end of your life. Time spent in a place like this is not subtracted from the end of your life. So I really wanted to just close by thanking Tom and Cindy and the entire Park and Rec staff, not only for adding a little time to our lives, but enhancing it along the way. So thanks. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you all for coming. We have one more thing we got to do. You'll notice out here there is a little green and black target. And you got the little orange pucks. We're going to have what we call a chuck-a-puck. God, I'm glad I said that correctly. Thank you. There we go. A chuck-a-puck contest. And so I guess we'll bring Jason out here. He'll outline it. I guess the point is that we're going to throw the pucks. Don't throw them at me, thank you. Throw them at the little target. And aim it at the circle. I guess the deal is whoever gets closest wins a pool pass. Well, you can outline the details of that there, sir.
Yep, so if everybody's got their puck, I'll move the podiums out of the way here, and you can hurl your puck, and who's ever closest, I'll come on out, grab the number, and you can claim your prize back at the registration desk. If you haven't got a puck, I'm not sure if anybody's still out there, you can quick run out there quick and go grab one.
We might need a tape measure here on this. The winner is number 37. Rachel O'Brien. Congratulations, Rachel. Rachel, you won some pool passes here to the St. Louis Park Rec Center Aquatic Park. So congratulations. Well, I think that concludes our program for today. Again, I want to thank you all for coming. Feel free to enjoy the use of the rec center year round, and I'm sure we'll see you all soon. Thank you very much.